welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurial Fuego. I am here with my new best friend, Eric Mulvin. You have a couple of businesses, buddy. You have Monsoon Marketing, which is the one that I can remember all the time. I can remember Monsoon real quickly. And Pacific Business Services. You're the co-owner. But here's the cool thing about you is that you are an entrepreneur at large, and by that I mean you are in front of several businesses that you have developed throughout the years. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I grew up, I got some funny stories. So, I kind of knew that I was always going to run some kind of business, I guess, growing up.
How did you know that?
Looking back, the signs are obvious, but, back then, I built a Lego city when I was maybe like 5 or 6, and I put up a sign and I charged my parents admission to go see it. Things like that. I put together I traded sports cards and collected basketball cards, and I made a little card shop in my backyard, and had a little sign out front, and tried to get my friends to come over, and we'd buy and sell cards with each other and stuff.
So cool.
So yeah, and then middle school made bootleg. When Napster first came out, and it took an hour to download a song.
Right.
I was the first guy that was selling CDs in the playground and on the basketball courts and stuff.
So you knew it. You knew from a young age. I'm gonna be into some kind of business, and you were into these little businesses already.
Yeah, just can't get away from it, I guess.
The first big business that you got, or the real business, let's say. What was that?
Well, I guess the best way to say that is I registered my first LLC back in 2011. So,
all right.
I was doing freelance video production and websites and stuff, and then I was working also at Yelp in downtown Scottsdale back in 2011. So when they first opened their office here, before they were big public
before they were
company.
big Yelp, they were
just a startup, and they just moved out here from San Francisco.
All right.
And so I was there, and I took my last paycheck from that job, used it as a down payment for the first cab. I started a taxi cab company, and there was some method to that. It was like, why would someone my age, start a taxi cab company? But going through ASU, I was like, I want to start a business that is in an industry that's changing a lot, because that's where there's opportunity. New technology's coming in.
Right.
And I take cabs around town, going out to Old Town and Mill, and the technology in the cabs looked like it was the same.
This is prior to Uber, of course.
Yeah. I got the story to tell people that, I have a notebook at home with 50 pages of documentation for an app I was going to develop that looks a lot like Uber, but it was before I knew about Uber. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of the right idea, but not enough funding. It was kind of the wrong time, I guess, and so. The taxi cab business gave me tons of great lessons. I like to say it's my street MBA.
All right, out of the street MBA, what is the one lesson? You got a lot of lessons. What is the one lesson that you remember that comes to your head?
There's a lot of them. You got to really, learning how to work with vendors, with people not every vendor is going to be the same. You think you could work with a company, and you're just because you're paying for their services and they look like they have everything together. A lot of times they don't.
It's just a facade sometimes.
Yeah.
When you look under the hood, there's not much there.
Yeah. So, and that was my kind of first taste in doing kind of business international. I worked with a startup out of Germany that did the dispatch software, and I was working with the CEO, kind of giving them ideas to implement, because we were using it live on the ground. We had an app back in 2013, you could use to get a cab, when most big companies now are just finally coming out with their app.
Wow.
But they had too many issues, and the company actually closed not too long after I shut down my cab company. So,
oh my goodness.
But I learned a lot about working with businesses and being on the other side. I was like, if I'm offering services to other people, I know what clients would expect, and so.
Fast forward. To today, and you have a couple of companies, successful companies. What are they?
We have Pacific Business Services, and so that came out of the taxi cab company. We realized we're really small, we don't have much money, and we can't afford to have people 24/7 answering the calls, but the calls come in 24/7. A business partner was taking them all, and it was kind of taking a toll. it's hard to run a business when you're taking a cab order at 3 in the morning.
The call center is your partner, essentially.
Yeah, so we started the call center up out there to take our calls. We got it to where it was running 24/7.
Out there where?
Oh, I'm sorry. In the Philippines, I had my cousins that worked at other call centers, and I said, hey, why don't you guys come try to start taking calls for me? And we started in a house out there. Actually, my parents have a house there, and you could hear the roosters in the background between calls, and they try to mute it, if the rooster's crowing, but we made it, and then we got a little office, and everything was going great until the taxi cab company shut down, and then they didn't have anything to do for a few months. But once that shut down, actually great opportunity. Another big company that had a lot of cars, actually I'll just say it, VIP Taxi here in Phoenix and Tucson.
Sure.
They were like, well, we could bring you on, and so they were our first client, and we started, closed the taxi cab company, started Pacific Business Services. So,
which is a call center.
Yeah, call center in the Philippines.
And so with the experience of the taxi cab company that you created, you shut that down, you have this call center that now it's got the experience of a call center, and now you offer that service to VIP Taxi.
Yeah, the VIP Taxi, we started with them, and then this year we've just been growing exponentially. We started the year with a goal of adding 8 people this year, because then I was like, okay, we can hit profitability in our little office. We don't have a lot of overhead. Now we just hired 8 people this week.
The technology for a call center, because of how we are developed and how technology is changing so fast and is becoming so affordable, it's enabling you to have a very inexpensive labor force with this incredible technology on this end, which is the secret of your success.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere you just need good internet access, which is actually our toughest challenge out there, is just good internet access. But aside from that, a laptop and a headset, you could be anywhere in the world and taking calls for these companies out here.
So if I am VIP Tax, if I'm a customer of VIP, sir, in this case, I call and the call is rerouted over to the Philippines, and somebody in the Philippines is answering the phone.
For some of their calls. Now, every client we work with, they all have their own call center here, and we're part of that team. And so, you might get someone here, you might get someone over there. Depends.
As an entrepreneur, did you dream that this would happen? You didn't write a business plan saying, "All right, I'm gonna write a business plan for a business calling service."
Yeah, that was not what we set out to start.
Right?
Well, I think that's just all, part of being an entrepreneur. You can't, the instinct for entrepreneurs is like you start your dream, or you start your business and it's your baby and you don't want to give that idea up. And, I think maybe another big lesson that I learned, from the failures of the first, companies that I started with the transportation stuff is, you got to look for where the opportunity is at, focus on that, and only focus on that. There's too many entrepreneurs that are all over the place. If they come and tell me like 10 different things, I'm like, you're going to need 10 different partners to launch all those ideas. Like, what's your one idea that you're going to work on, and focus on that. And I think that's a big thing that I learned. So, when we first started the call center even, we were like, okay, we could do calls for businesses, outbound calls for people. We could do, anything that you could think of, I'll take you on as a client. Now we've really cut that back. We're like, no, if we just focus on one niche, that's where you could really grow and accelerate. It's great to say, oh, our call center could do anything you want, but I'd rather say our call center has, we're employing 100 people and, we're doing this and this and this. So, and that's where I think I could head towards if I just focus on,
So you're just inbound call center at this point.
Yeah.
And that is giving you the expertise just to kind of focus on that particular niche, and then you offer that to services, and they're like, oh, this is what I do and I do very well. And that's my specialty right now. Maybe in the future I'll
Yeah, and that's what we're working on. We're trying to diversify. I know that, I think within 5 to 10 years, we won't have to drive our own cars, so there's not going to be taxis.
Correct. And I've seen your videos as well.
Okay.
I've seen your videos, and you are you have a great eye.
Thanks.
You have a great eye. And great shots, great angles, very unique angles, as a matter of fact. You open up the trunk of a car, and there is the camera. Right? They're very unique, very, very creative. Where did that creativity come from?
Probably, just working on it and practicing. Just being creative and always.
Do you watch a lot of movies?
Not really. It's my wife, that she's been trying to catch me up. I have a list of movies that I'm supposed to watch. Like I just finally watched like all the Mission Impossibles a couple months ago, and she's
Because
like,
the angles are, talking about Mission Impossible, some of the angles that you use are very Mission Impossible-ish.
oh yeah.
Yes?
I mean, I've been doing video stuff since 6th grade. You know, I've made like short films, and
Is that your passion?
yeah, actually it is. It's one of my written down goals. I'm hoping the call center will enable me to one day launch. I want to do documentaries and films and stuff, and so that's the ultimate goal. I tell my friends, one of my 10-year goals is to get a movie on Netflix. So we'll see.
Eric Mulvin, Pacific Business Services, and Monsoon Marketing. And the videos that you do, man, they're very good.
Thanks.
If you have a chance to go and take a look at them at monsoonmarketing.com.
Yeah, monsoonmkt.com.
monsoonmkt.com. They're very, 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 very well done. I saw a few of them, and they're just like, yeah, he's got an eye. He's got an eye. I don't know if it is Quentin Tarantino-like, but no, but he's got a good eye for some of this video. So
I live in Arcadia now, and I know Steven Spielberg graduated from Arcadia High School.
he sure
so,
did. As a matter of fact,
I'm in the right area, maybe.
you're definitely the right. So you're inspired by that.
Yeah.
Your next challenge as an entrepreneur.
The next goal is diversifying the call center. I have a goal by next year to have a quarter of the office be non-taxi related, and that to continue to increase, over the next couple of years. And so that's a lot of challenges. I'm going to be facing industries I've never experienced working with, and we're going into new places, but everything that I do every day is new, so it's just another day.
Eric Mulvin, man, you got an eye. You got an eye for video and for commercial video specifically. It's worth watching. Remember that.
Thanks.
And people had to remember you, Eric Mulvin. You listen to Eric Mulvin here first. With that, we're out.